Good morning, guys. So YouTube is indeed censoring independent creators that focus on political or news content. And I can confirm this through secondary evidence. As a journalist who works at a large mainstream media news outlet and is the manager of their YouTube channel, I can see the back-end analytics. And the same analytics that David Pakman and Tim Pool are talking about, where their recommended videos have gone down over the year, and then even more precipitously over the last few months, where their videos are no longer getting recommended the way they were. The opposite has happened for the channel I manage and other mainstream media channels, where our recommended videos have gone way up, with all other things remaining constant. That means like our search traffic is constant, our browse feature is constant, but our recommended video traffic has gone up. And it's gone up because YouTube is now recommending mainstream media videos over independent creators. But what I find interesting about this is why, and I think I can offer some insight into why they're doing this, why they are now weighting mainstream media videos for recommended lists higher than they are independent creators. And it comes down to, one, mainstream media have more powerful voices. They have direct lines of communication with YouTube and Google. Now, personally, I have never once argued with a Google or YouTube employee. I've emailed with them, I've corresponded with them, but there are open lines of communication between people that work directly at YouTube and mainstream media companies. Mainstream media companies are the ones that have the power to complain. They're the ones that cause the adpocalypses and cause the PR crises. Whether it's PewDiePie or Logan Paul, it's The Verge, it's the Wall Street Journal. It's these media institutions that define what is or what is not legitimate news. They're the ones that define what are the overtone window. And anything outside the overtone window is considered, extreme or ideological and causes a PR crisis. And those PR crises then cause advertisers to pull out of YouTube. And the mechanism, the leverage mainstream media has, is to cause adpocalypses. And YouTube doesn't want that, because when they cause apocalypses, their revenue, YouTube's revenue as a total, goes down. Everybody gets paid less. And the way they can avoid this is by making sure their content, the content that gets seen by the most people when they go to YouTube, is within that overtone window of ideas. And they can control it with mainstream media, because mainstream media by default decides what is the overtone window, whereas independent creators on YouTube, I don't care whether it's David Pakman or Alex Jones or Philip DeFranco or whomever, they're ultimately outside of the mainstream media bubble and therefore may be less likely to conform to whatever the overtone window ideas are during that decade, that year, whatever it may be. So by catering to mainstream media content, they're more likely to mitigate risks of PR crises and adpocalypses. The other half of this is money, and money has a big part of this. Something that I don't think a lot of people realize is that for most political or independent creators that are doing political or news content, a CPM is around $1, $2. It's not going to be much more than that. CPM is just a cost per thousand, so for 1,000 views, you're probably making $1 or $2. That's what an average YouTube creator is making, an independent creator. The CPMs for media companies are much, much higher. I wish I could show you. I don't have my computer with me, and even then it would be a total breach of my NDAs. But the CPMs for a large media company we're talking $15 to $16. That's an amount of 7x, 8 times as much. And just as the media company is making more money on the CPM, so is YouTube, because YouTube's taking a revenue split of that. So if an advertiser is only willing to spend $2 for 1,000 views at an independent creator, and YouTube gets $1, and the other creator gets $1, versus an advertiser is willing to spend $15 on a mainstream media piece of content, and YouTube gets $7 of that amount, once again, YouTube is incentivized to go for the larger pile of money. And the reason why the CPMs are so much higher is because mainstream media companies operate within private exchanges, meaning they don't just sell their advertising through just Google AdSense. They have their own sales team that then make backroom deals with companies like Infinity or Goldman Sachs or Pepsi or Coca-Cola that agree to exclusively run ads on their content across their verticals. Like, we're going to run content across the New York Times on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. But because it's the New York Times, we can charge a higher premium. And so Coca-Cola is willing to pay $15 per 1,000 views than $2 on just the open Google AdSense market. By attracting mainstream media and holding their content there on YouTube, they're actually making more per 1,000 views than they would with independent creators. And by more, I mean a lot more. And my guess is they predict they will continue to make a lot more, just as legacy television continues to make the most amount of money. That's where advertisers are still pouring the most, dollars per CPM. YouTube is gambling on some level that that money will continue to shift from legacy television over to YouTube, but it'll shift with those mainstream media outlets because those are the ones that have the relationships with the advertisers, and they want to cater to the mainstream media companies because those mainstream media companies are the ones that will bring those advertisers and those good relationships over to YouTube with a higher CPM rate. The third underpinning this all is something called a p-value, and a p-value is something that YouTube doesn't talk about, but it's an invisible value assigned to all YouTube channels, content creators, that defines whether they're suitable for advertisers, how suitable for advertisers their channel is, and how much they should get recommended. And this has been confirmed through a few leaked documents by YouTube, although they won't discuss it. But it is indeed a real thing. Channels have something called p-values, and as YouTube continues to crank the importance of the p-values assigned to channels, and those p-values determine how often a video or even a channel as a whole will get their videos recommended, as independent creators get a lower p-value and mainstream media channels get a higher p-value, by nature, those channels are going to get recommended more and more and more. So me personally, I want to be clear, I am not for this. I am for the independent creator. I just work for a big media company. I don't work at that. That's why I come home after work every day and make a video, because I want to be able to control what I can say and do, and it offers me a modicum of freedom. I think mainstream media entered the game late into YouTube and then cried mercy and foul and kind of a lot of chicanery to get to the top. But hopefully this offers some insight into what's going on behind the scenes. So from a journalist working on the inside at a large mainstream media, digital media company in New York City, what you're seeing reported by David Pakman and Tim Pool is true. I can confirm it on the opposite side of the wall. Anyway, these are just some thoughts. If you guys found this moderately interesting, like, subscribe, make a video every day. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.